Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today I'm going to be catching you up on the best and worst tracks to have been released over the past week in another installment of what I like to call Hot and Cold. This is the 7th one of the year so far, and this will be the final one for February. Let's jump into it. Kicking off with the hot tracks, in other words, the best in my opinion, we have two brand new singles from Weezer. Yes, the Black Album is on its way. Make sure to check out that review of it when it drops after March 1st. Anyways, the two singles that we're getting here are entitled High as a Kite and Livin' in LA. The first of which is an incredibly tragic and personal letter-like entry into the band's discography. Easily the best single to have been released for the album thus far. Rivers' lyrics are about escaping life's pains, and he has said in an interview with Zane Lowe of Beats Radio that this song reminds him a lot of Surf Wax America from their debut record, the Blue Album. The themes of the track are captivating. The instrumentation varies it up a bit. We hear some flutes in there, which is quite odd to hear in a Weezer song, but I think it suits the style of it very well. The bass line's so smooth, the vocals, they match the intensity of the Weezer-esque guitars, and the drumming from Pat Wilson really caps it all off. Nothing too complicated with the drum pattern, and it doesn't have to be that way because this song is going to be one of my favorites of the year. I have a really good feeling about that. The other Weezer single to drop last week is called Livin' in LA, and sorry Brendan Urie, this one is better than Dying in LA. Don't get me wrong, this Weezer single is cringy pop, a bit of a guilty pleasure for me, and I can't always be so serious on here with the recommendations, so just take that with a grain of salt, that's all I'll say. It's upbeat, it's basic in its chord progression, it's Weezer selling out yet again, but compared to Pacific Daydream, I think this is more than passable. It's actually pretty good in my opinion. Moving on from there, we get a nice turnaround from Judah and the Lion. I criticized their single from earlier this year that dropped back in January sometime. But their new song here is a step in the right direction. It's called Pictures, and it features the Grammy goddess herself, Kacey Musgraves. Yes, she did take home a lot of Grammys this year. But what I love about this track is the stripped back instrumentation, the slower tempo, and the vocal delivery or styling that doesn't make it sound like every other Judah and the Lion song. I just think Kacey was the appropriate guest to have in the vocal booth. And the guitars are the highlight here, definitely pulling at my heartstrings in the chorus. Up next, we have a Canadian rock band, Big Wreck. It looks like they're going to be putting out some new music this year. Their latest single is entitled Locomotive. This one is another expanded form type song, definitely something that Big Wreck are no stranger to. In fact, I've been a fan of their work for some time now. This song here reminds me of something you would get off their record Ghosts. Sounds a lot like their song Hey Mama, but I love the sound play, the solos, and the jam session in the middle of this track. Continuing with the Canadian artist role that I'm on here, Hollerado came out with a new single last week. It's called One Last Time, and it's a fine track if you ask me. It's just nice to hear this band maintaining their quality after an excellent record in 2017. Hopefully we're getting another one by the end of 2019. Tierra Whack has a new single out, it's called Only Child. This is my first exposure to her music, and I'm impressed. I didn't think it would be hip-hop that I would enjoy, but mixed with some catchy melodic ideas, I'm hooked, and I think I'll go back and check out her project from last year that had a lot of critics raving and buzzing about it. Up next, Wallows are returning with a new single. This one is called Scrawny, and it's an improvement over their previous single, Are You Bored Yet? This one is just very catchy for its guitar riff and its alternative rock feel. Rounding out the hot tracks this week, we have a new single from Ria Mae, another Canadian artist. Vocally sounds similar to Serena Ryder. I always seem to get these two mixed up. Her new track is entitled Trixie. It makes use of this sound that is like a mellotron. It fills out the audio spacing, giving it like this impending doom-like feel. But the groovy bass and the bouncy percussion really make this a fun little pop tune, and it helps that the chorus is pretty catchy too. Moving on to the middle of the road tracks, these aren't the greatest, they aren't the worst. I kind of have a lukewarm reception to them, you know what I'm saying. Peer Pressure by James Bay featuring Julia Michaels. This one kind of feels like a Chaos in the Calm B-side. It's still decent, I just feel like I've heard it before. However, Julia Michaels though, she adds nothing to the song. It doesn't even feel like she wanted to be there when she was doing her vocal takes. And that's no fault against her. I think the mixing of the final track here just buries her in this wall of sound where James dominates. The redeeming quality of the song is the chorus. It's tolerable, I'll say that at least. Moving on from there, we get a blast from the past with this next artist here, Adam Lambert. Yeah, where has he been? Anyways, his new song is called Feel Something. It's a little over-dramatic ballad. It's alright, not the most groundbreaking piece of music I've heard, but it's a nice return, and it doesn't really make me shy away from the Adam Lambert brand. Nikki Yanofsky is the other blast from the past artist this week. She was the songstress for the Vancouver 2010 Olympic Games, and she wrote the anthem I Believe when she was like 16 years old. Still a great song to this day, but now she is about 9 years older, and her new song here is called Blowin' Smoke. And I'll be honest, it's a pretty generic pop song. However, the chorus and the horn instrumentation make up for the run-of-the-mill beat. Feels by Kalani is another middle-of-the-road track I've selected here this week. I really like it for its ambient production from Boy Wonder. It's also nice that the breathy vocals from Kalani are kept to a minimum, so this is one of the songs I can actually get behind and support on her new project. Moving on there, a big artist who's making her first big splash of 2019 is Pink. She's returning with a single entitled Walk Me Home. I don't think it really compares to any of her pop classics she has under her belt at this point, but it's definitely not the worst thing I've heard either. I just feel like a band like Walk Off the Earth have done this before, especially in the chorus, and that's where it kind of bores me. Now until the cold tracks in these were the worst I heard in the past week. TPain, his new single is called A Million Times. This thing is hideous for its auto-tune, not to mention its disgusting lyrics, super easy rhymes, and it's easily got to be one of the worst songs I've heard this year so far. Moving on from there, No Sleep by Martin Garrix. This one ironically almost put me to sleep. Yeah, it's unfortunately just way too repetitive to enjoy, and when Martin could have came in with a decent beat drop, he just repeated the same thing that the singer was using for his melodic idea. Be Like Me by Lil Pump featuring Lil Wayne is the next song I'll talk about here. I'll give it this, the beat is nicely produced. I just feel like the rest of the song is way too repetitive, and it's not in the way that's gonna make me fall asleep. It's just the rap performances that make me shudder in disgust based on how simple the rhymes are. And I'll admit it, as stupid as a single I Love It was featuring Kanye West, I still somehow enjoy that to this day. I just feel like when Lil Wayne does this same kind of funny character, he doesn't really pull it off as well, and he ends up doing himself a disservice. And yes, I know he's done this funny character in the past. He's been on the Nicki Minaj song Only. I think it also just pains me that this track was dragged out to be 4 minutes long. It could have been more tolerable if it were cut in half possibly, and if the flows were more creative. But oh well, Lil Pump still gets his attention, and I don't see really why. Rounding out this week, we get a very generic pop song from John Mayer. His new track is called I Guess I Just Feel Like. So forgettable that I almost didn't shout him out on this cold list of the week. And yeah, we'll leave it at that for this week. Let me know what new music you're listening to. Sound off down below in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town, and I'll catch you next week in another installment of Hot and Cold. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a rockin' day.